Chapter 4. Vedic Age, the Aryans. Reading Objectives. The Aryan Settlements. Sources of Vedic Age. Main features of Vedic culture. Case study. Megalithic. Indus Valley civilization lasted for about 1.5 millennium. This civilization brought changes in lifestyle, habits or customs of people. After this, the Vedic period came. During the later Vedic period, the Aryans migrated to the Gangetic plains and established a large kingdom. After the end of the Indus Valley civilization, the next stage in the history of India was the Vedic age. Enrich yourself. The Ramayana. Rishi Valmiki composed the Ramayana in Sanskrit. In Hindi, it is Ramcharitmanas composed by Tulsidas. Rama and Sita are the main characters of the Ramayana, and it is considered that they are the personification of Lord Vishnu and Goddess Lakshmi. The Ramayana gives the description of ideal father, son, brother, husband, friend and devotee. The Mahabharata. Rishi Vedvyasa composed the great epic, Mahabharata. The Mahabharata has 100,000 shlokas or verses. Haribans was attached at the end of the book as supplementary. Test your knowledge. 1. What is the story of Ramayana? 2. What was composed by Rishi Vedvyasa? 3. What was the composition of Tulsidas? Indo-Aryan migration in India. Around 1500 BC, people speaking an Indo-Aryan language emerged in India. It is mostly said that these people were Aryans who came to India from Iran, or from Central Asia, or region near the Caspian Sea, or they were pastoral nomads who kept large herds of cattle. Some of them had migrated to Europe while others come to India through the passes of the Hindu Kush. Those who settled in India are known as Indo-Aryans. They can be differentiated from others as they spoke various Aryan languages. They had strong physique and fair complexion with sharp features. They had tall stature, spoke different languages. They were called Aryans. The Aryans came in small groups over a long period of time and lived along with the natives of that place. They had to migrate to various parts of the world as life became difficult for them in their original homeland. The Aryans first settled in the areas adjacent to the 7 rivers Indus and her tributaries, or Sapta Sindhu, between 1500 BC and 1000 BC. Later, they moved to the region just to the north of Delhi, on the bank of the river Saraswati. When the water of Saraswati river dried up, they turned towards the southeast and settled in the Ganges-Yamuna plains, which are known as Aryavarta or land of the Aryans. Do you know? The Vedas were composed by the Aryans during this period. That is why it was called Vedic Age. Get to know more. The Aryans spoke an Indo-Aryan language, which was the basis of Vedic Sanskrit. They composed the Vedas and also made painted pottery and gave them a technical name, painted grey ware. Grey color bowls have been found dating to the same period at Hastinapur and Atraniji Khera in Uttar Pradesh. The Dravidians were native tribes. They fought against the Aryans and tried to check their power, but at the end, they succumbed to the Aryans. Thus, the Aryans called them Dasas or Dasyus. The culture of the Dasas was different from the culture of the Aryans. After some time, the term Dasa came to be known as a slave. Some Dasas were respected persons in the society, but most of them were made to do menial work. The composition of Vedas. Vedic Age. This name is derived from the 4 Vedas written during this period. The word Veda means knowledge or wisdom. The four Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, the Yajur Veda and the Atharva Veda, were composed by the Aryans themselves. They were the oldest and most sacred books of the Aryans. Do you know, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata and the Puranas also give a lot of information about Vedic age. 1. The Rig Veda is the oldest of the Vedic literature. It contains 1028 shlokas in the praise of gods and goddesses. It is divided into mandalas or 10 books. 2. The Sama Veda consists the verses taken from the Rig Veda for some sacrifices. 3. The Yajur Veda contains supplementary hymns that are to be followed in ordinary sacrifices. 4. The Atharva Veda is a collection of songs, spells including illness. The Brahmans, the Aranyakas and the Upanishads are three parts of the Vedas. The Brahmans make commentaries on the Vedic mantras in simple prose. The Aranyakas were meant for the hermits who usually meditate in forest. The Upanishads are also called Vedanta, are philosophical texts sourced from early Hindu religion. Their knowledge is considered sacred. The Puranas are 18 in number. The Bhagavad Purana, the Shiv Purana and the Vishnu Purana are still popular among Hindu society. The epics, the sutras, the Vedangas, the Up-Vedas, the six darshans, the Puranas and the Dharmashastras are the most important literacy evidence. Fact. 1. Who were Aryans? 2. From which source we come to know about the Aryans and Vedic age? 3. What is the subject matter of Samaveda? 4. Which language did the Aryans speak? Main features of Vedic culture. The Vedic age may be divided into two: the early or Rig Vedic period and the later Vedic period. Village. The early Aryans lived in villages or grama. The village or grama was headed by the Gramini. Each village had a number of families and all the members of a family lived together as a joint household. The head of the family was the oldest male member. He was called the Grihapati. All decisions made by him were accepted by others. Women were respected and no religious ceremony was considered complete without the participation of women. People lived in huts that were usually rectangular in shape and made of straw, bamboo and wood. These huts were surrounded by a fence to exclude invaders and animals. Main occupation was farming. Wheat, rice and barley were mainly grown. They also domesticated cows, horses, dogs, sheep, goats and oxen. The cow was a very important animal in the Vedic period. Each household had a number of cows and the one who had plenty of cows counted as a wealthy person. Administration. The Aryans were divided into numerous tribes, as more and more tribes settled in villages. The chieftain of a tribe was called Rajan. He was selected for his wisdom and physical strength. A number of officials, like Senani or the war commander and the Purohit or the priest, helped him in his military or religious duties. The Brahmini assisted him and also administered the village. Two popular assemblies, like Sabha and Samiti, advised the king on important matters. The Samiti was considered as the General Assembly and the Sabha was considered as the Council of Elders. Social life. The Aryan society was divided into four main groups or varnas, or classes: the Brahmans, the Kshatriya, the Vaishyas and the Shudras. Each group had different occupation and job in the society. The Brahmans looked after religious and spiritual matters. They also treated the sick. The Kshatriya or the kings were the warriors. They protected the tribes. Then came the Vaishyas, who worked as farmers, craftsmen, merchants and traders, and last of all, the Shudras. They were the lowest in the group of social hierarchy. They served the other three Varnas and lived outside the village. In the beginning, people could choose their occupation. However, later on, occupation became related to birth and caste. Sons followed the same occupation as their fathers. Slowly, the caste system became very rigid. Searching dictionary. Grihapati, the head of the family. Epic, a long story of past characters. Occupational activities. The Aryans were mainly occupied in agriculture and cattle rearing. Besides, fishing, metal work, chariot making, pottery making, jewelry making, carpentry and canning were other common occupations. Priesthood was a very prestigious occupation. Hakim, or Vaid, had knowledge of medicinal herbs and plants, and the priest gave medicines to the sick person. Apart from gold, silver, copper, lead and tin, they had discovered a new metal called iron. As a result, many industries related to the metal work also flourished and more towns emerged during this time. Food and clothing. The Aryans ate simple food like rice, wheat, barley, vegetables, fruits and meat. They used to drink milk and eat butter and ghee. Besides this simple and nutritious food, they also drank a special drink, soma, on religious ceremonies. Their clothes were made of wool and cotton. Men wore dhoti as lower garment and turban on head and loose shawl on the shoulders. The women wear sari with blouse. Do you know, the dress of the Aryans was very similar to that of the Harappans. Gold was used to embellish the cloth, which were in great demand by the rich people. Amusement. The amusements of the Aryans were chariot racing, hunting, horse racing, dancing and playing musical instruments. They loved to play drum and flute. The Vedic religion. The early Vedic age. The early Aryans embodied the powers of nature and worshipped them as gods and goddesses. All these gods were given human forms, like Surya or Savitri was sun god, Mitra, the sky god, Varun, the sea god, Agni, the fire god, and Yama, the god of death. The highly worshipped god was Indra, the god of rain, storm and war. The later Vedic age new gods, Brahma the creator, Vishnu is the preserver and Shiva the destroyer. Many expensive and complex rituals and animal sacrifices started this time. The later Aryans believed in karma, duty, atma, soul, and moksha, salvation. The Vedic age came to an end around 600 BC, when a big territorial unit, called Janapadas, was formed. Case study. Megalithic. In ancient times, the Deccan and the southern India were populated with megalithic people in the first millennium BC. We have very little idea about the megalithic culture. What is known is derived from their graves or burials called megalithic. Megalithic means a huge stone. Such large stones were specially put as sign to indicate the sites of burials. These burials contain skeletons of people and pottery and various iron tools and weapons. In some areas, a large number of pots filled with ashes and charred bones have been found. This is clear that megalithic people believed in life after death. The megalithic culture was spread over Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Some famous megalithic sites are Khalpa, Takalghat, Naikund and Mahurjari in Maharashtra. Word to know. The Indus Valley civilization is also called the Harappan civilization. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were very well-planned cities. The upper part was built on raised ground, called the citadel. It was also known as Acropolis. The citadel included public buildings, granaries and religious structures. The Great Bath was used during festivals and religious functions. Most of the seals contain short inscriptions with picture of animals. The Indus script is called pictographic.